What's up, Street Thugs? Brigg here, and I've got a Savage Melee Bio Armor Brute that is designed for task forces and tanking. So let's go ahead and jump right in. As you can see, I have Smashing, Lethal, Fire, Cold, Energy Negative, all at 45%. So you're going to be soft cap defense across the board. And Psionic, I'm at 33%, not too shabby. Melee at about 40%, and range and AoE at 20. Those are just byproducts of the Smashing, Lethal, Fire, Cold, and Energy defenses I was focusing on. And of course, down here in the resistances, not across the board like I would like. I did try to get as much as I can here and there, but I would end up sacrificing too much of your other defenses. I'm a big proponent for soft cap defenses, so I wanted to focus on those. But you do have 90% on Smashing and Lethal, 55% for Fire and Cold, and 43% for the energies. And then Toxic is at 52%, and then Psionic's about 15%. Not too bad on Toxic, but again, like I said, they are a little lower than I would have liked them to be. But the way this build's set up with the defenses and the regeneration, the recovery, you're going to be really well off. So let's go ahead and go over the powers here. I do want to point out, I do have the defensive adaptation on, so that is going to be boosting our defense. This build is designed for more of a tanky nature of survivability of like leading task force. If you are interested in a more of a damage style, I am going to be looking at seeing if I can do that. If you're running task force with a group, it's going to really excel very well. So let's go ahead and go over the powers. For Savage Melee, we have Maiming Slash, Bloodthirst, Vicious Slash, Taunt, Rending Fury, and Savage Leap. For Bio Armor, we have Hardened Carapace, Inexhaustible, Environmental Modification, Adaptation, Ablative Carapace, Evolving Armor, DNA Siphoned, Genetic Contamination, and Parasitic Aura. For the power pull sets, for first one we have Leaping, which is combat jumping, which is pretty much my staple. I usually always get it as soon as possible, as well as my travel power. For the second pull power, we have Speed. I've got Hasten and Super Speed. For the third one, we got Fighting, which is Boxing, Tough, and Weave. Some of the servers you can actually skip Boxing, but I take it this time, and I usually take it just in case. I don't know which server you're on, but in this case, we're going to actually use Boxing just for some extra set bonuses. And then for leadership, we have maneuvers for the fourth power pull set. And then for your epic power pull, I have Electrifying Fences and Ball Lightning just to help out with some DPS. I even considered not getting an epic pull power for this set originally, but I ended up with 2 extra spots. So I ended up just tossing it in there, like I said, just to do some extra, AoE damage to kill things a little faster. So now let's go ahead and look at the Incarnates. For interface, I got Diamagnetic Core Flawless Interface. This is because it gives you a -2 hit and a minus regeneration debuff, which I actually preferred instead of the Fire DOT, which is what I usually go for. Come down here to Destiny. I've got the Ageless Radial Epiphany. Usually I go for the Ageless Core Epiphany, but in this case, because it gave you a plus debuff resistance, that's kind of what I went for right there. And then we're going to come over here to Hybrid. For Assault Core Embodiment, because there is supposed to be a passive boost that's supposed to be applied at all times. I did tinker with it and it did not seem to change anything. I was considering getting the Resilient one, hoping it would boost my resilience on a passive level, not just when you click it every 5 minutes. I did not see a bonus. If you feel like you might, or if you want to do more damage, you can decide whether you want to go back and forth. That's your call. So those are the powers. Let's go ahead and jump up to our first power, which is Maiming Slash. Okay, for Maiming Slash, you can see here I did something a little bit different. We have the Kinetic Combat set, which is a set that I almost never use. But in this case, I wanted it because it gets 3.75% for Smashing and Lethal, but it also does 1.5% resistance to Fire Cold, because this build does not really give you too much towards everything else other than it's like Smashing, Lethal, and Toxic. Smashing, Lethal, and Toxic. So you're going to have to build up everything else, which is why they're lower than I would have liked. You do get a power that does have a little bit of resist all, and as well as tough, but again, they're not that much. So this one, we got Kinetic Combat. You can see I just got the 4. There's only 5 to begin with, but I got all of them but the knockdown bonus. Come down here to a Hardened Carapace. We got Gladiator's Armor, TP Protection, 3% defense all. And then we have Unbreakable Guard, which I have Resistance, Endurance, Resistance, Recharge, as well as the max HP. I did stick that Resistance, Endurance, Recharge in here to squeeze a little bit more resistance into all the sets, that in this case, Smashing, Lethal, and Toxic. It did not help almost at all. It might have did 0.08. I'm like, nope. So I ended up switching the Resistance, Endurance, Recharge for the plus max HP. Why not? Come down here to Inexhaustible. This one I went for preventative medicine, so I've got the chance for absorb, and I got the heal endurance, and the heal recharge. This gives you a resistance to smashing and lethal, as well as a resistance to fire and cold. Every time that proc hits, you should be getting about 500 health. We'll come down here to environmental modification. I've got the Luck of the Gambler global recharge, and then I have the shield wall set for the energy resistance. Like I said, you're not going to be getting energy with this set other than just a teeny little bit from evolving armor and tough. So this one I got the 4.5 resistance energy. I think I've got 3 or 4 of these in here. I think it's 4. I think it is 4. So you're going to get a total of 18% of energy reduction just from these sets here. And then, of course, I got the reactive defenses for the scaling resist damage. So the more people you have around you, the more resistant you're going to be. For combat jumping here, we got Luck of the Gambler again. And it's pretty much the same thing as I had as environmental modification. The only difference is this one has the resistant teleportation 5+ resistance all. I put it in combat jumping because combat jumping you get the least amount of defense boost out of all the other powers. So this is the one I'm going to lose a little bit. So in this case, I had the defense endurance, defense recharge, defense, and of course that resist all, teleportation resist. Come down here to vicious slash. This one we have the superior blistering cold. Only took 4 of them, and I get the 4% recovery, but the main reason I took it is for the 6% for fire and cold resistance. Come down here to super speed. This one I just have the slow resistance because this build set up at 80%. That extra 20% pushes you all the way to 100% resistance to slow. Come down here to taunt, and then taunt I just have the range. You can put a recharge in there. It's whatever you want to do. Like I've said in the past, I prefer range because I feel like range is the issue that I suffer from the most instead of recharging for when it comes to taunt. Come up here to ablative carapace, preventative heal, and heal recharge. This power here, as well as a couple other ones, they last 30 seconds, and I've got the recharge below 30 seconds. So you can pretty much keep all these heal powers on cooldown all the time. Come down here to Rending Fury. I have the Superior Avalanche. I took everything but the Aider, the Accuracy, Damage, Endurance, Recharge. And I took the Superior Avalanche here for the 6% Fire Resistant Cold, as well as the 2.5% for Smashing and Lethal. 5% defense for melee is awesome, but it was just, like I said, a byproduct. Come down here to Evolving Armor. Now here we got Titanium Coating. I don't use Titanium Coating that often, but this one I did need this 3% Resisting Lethal. I usually go for Aegis, but Aegis has some stuff that's just wasted I don't need, and this one you also get 1.5% for energy negative, and that's the reason I mainly took it. And I took all the resist powers. If it didn't have resistance in it, I didn't take it because, like I said, we are trying to build our resistance as much as possible. Come down here to Bloodthirst. I just took a recharge. Be careful with mids because mids does say that it will take a two hit buff. It will not, so you can't stick. I wanted to stick the Gossen's chance for buildup in there, but you won't be able to put that in the game because the game it will only take recharge and endurance and I think one other one, a basic one though that's not going to really help. And Bloodthirst is a tricky power. It's not necessarily a power that you think of like a buildup or a firing embrace or a fusion. This is one you want to constantly keep on cooldown, and you want to use it often because if you stack too many of your blood frenzies, which you're going to be stacking as you fight with your main attack powers, you stack too many of them and they're going to exhaust you. Not a big deal. You probably wouldn't even notice. You do get more damage when you let it stack to 5. So there's kind of like a give and take. You decide, do I want to stack it to 5 and take the exhaustion, or do I want to just keep hitting Bloodthirst whenever it pops? Your call. I tinkered with it a little bit. I mean, it's up to you. Come down here to boxing. This is the same thing like maiming slash. I just took the 4 main kinetics combats for this one, for that resistance to fire cold, as well as the smashing and lethal defense of 3.75%. Down here to tough, I've got the same 4 titanium coatings, the ones that just resistance, and I got the steadfast protection for 3% defense. And DNA Siphon, I just stuck the regen recovery in here. You could put a recharge here. There might be a couple things you can put in here. DNA Siphon, you're also going to be able to keep on cooldown. Again, it lasts about 30 seconds and it recharges in about 28, 29, maybe 30 seconds. So you'll be able to just keep this on cooldown and get that chance for the regeneration recovery. Regeneration is not a big deal here because you do have a lot of abilities that are going to be boosting that every time you hit them. Your idle regeneration is going to be about 336%. That's with none of the heal powers that all boost your regeneration and recovery and your health points. So your regeneration is going to be up there already, pretty high. Come up here to Hasten. I got 2 recharges like normal. Come down here to Savage Leap. I took all of the Superior Unrelenting Furies, and that is for the 4% damage boost, 4% recovery, 2.5% defense for smashing and lethal, and then 6% for all three of the main resistance sets: smashing and lethal, fire and cold, energy and negative energy. Come down here to genetic contamination. All of the superior brute's fury, primarily for the 5% smashing and lethal, plus you get the 4% damage, 10% recharge time, as well as the 6% towards fire and cold resistance. Come down here to weave. This one is just the luck of the gambler recharge, as well as the 4 shield walls we had talked about earlier. Pretty much all the ones that just said defense. Trying to squeeze as much defense as I can to get to our goal. Maneuvers here, exact same thing, luck of the gambler and the 4 shield walls with the defense. We'll come down here, electrifying fences. As you can see, this one, electrifying fences as well as ball lightning, got a little tricky. So in order to actually get the bonus off this, I kept it unattuned, and then we have Ragnaroks for the other 3, and you also get 6% fire and cold resistance here. You come down here to ball lightning. You have the Frozen Blast again, the other 3, and then you have the Ragnaroks, the other 3. I did come up with a somewhat balanced setup between the 2 sets here, between the 2 powers, but mainly I was focusing on that fire resistance because that was what was really important, because like I said, resistance are a little lower than I would have liked on this set. And then finally for Parasitic Aura, I went back and forth on this one. I ended up just going with the perfect zingers, the chance for side damage as well as the taunt recharge, and mainly because this gave you a little bit more toxic and psionic resistance. I said screw it, why not? I mean, you can do recharges, you can put some preventative medicines in there, whatever you want to do. This one does have a duration of 45 seconds instead of 30, but it does take about 80 seconds to recharge. So this one you will not have on cooldown all the time. Putting 2 recharges in there would not make that much of a difference. So I figured I might as well get the most out of it, and that's why I stuck with the toxic resistance. And then come down here to health. I've got Miracle Recovery. Your choice if you want to go with the Regeneration Recovery. And then I've got the Endurance Modificator in Stamina. So that is the Savage Melee Bio Armor, the Savage Bio Brute. This is how I rolled it. When I first started messing with it, I was like, wow, this build is really tricky because there's a lot of things you can do. And I wanted to get my resistance higher, but I really couldn't do that too much. So I focused on my defense. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all your support. As you can see, we are so close to our goal. So close to our goal. It's so exciting. But thank you guys so much. If you like this video or if it seemed helpful, please remember to hit the like button. If you're interested in any other videos that I have coming out, please hit the notification button to get notified when I release new videos. Please remember to subscribe. What an exciting journey this has been. But thank you guys. I appreciate all your support, and I will see you again soon. Stay golden and take care. Bye-bye.